What is good, everyone? It's the Quant Edge Video Series presented by FantasySportsMarkets.com. He, of course, my guy, Derek Brown. I am Ben Heisler. It's the Week 3 edition of Would You Rather, D-Bro. A lot of people have some toss-ups this week when it comes to their cash game DFS lineups. We are here to help them out. You ready to do so?
Oh, yeah, dude. Let's smash it.
Okay, so let's start at the quarterback spot. You got a couple of intriguing value plays with Josh Allen at home against Cincinnati. Buffalo is 2-0. Allen's starting to get himself going so far this year. And then Kyler Murray has been impressive the last few weeks as well. He is at home against Carolina. So between those two, between quarterbacks with high floors because of their rushing ability, who do you like?
Man, I think I'm going with Josh Allen with this one. We haven't seen him absolutely just break a slate, and I feel like it could be this week. 4 of his last 8 games, he's gone over 95 or more rushing yards, 7 rushing touchdowns. You gotta love that floor, but the ceiling is still definitely in play in this one.
Yeah, Carolina's a little bit desperate too, so I wonder whether or not their defense has to step up. We'll see what happens with Cam Newton this week. Meanwhile, Cincinnati is giving up all sorts of yards, and Buffalo is dealing with some issues in their running game. I'm with you. I like Josh Allen for week number 3. Running back spot, bunch of studs going up in this head-to-head. You have Dalvin Cook at home against the Oakland Raiders, or Alvin Kamara traveling to Seattle. No Drew Brees, so maybe people are wondering whether or not Kamara might get featured even more this week. Tough matchup anytime you have to go to Seattle, but who do you like?
I like Dalvin Cook. I'm going to ride that bus until the wheels fall off, until he just becomes the uber chalk. I'm with Dalvin Cook the entire way. He's one of only 2 running backs that are averaging over 20 rushing attempts per game. He is playing 70% of the snaps. You know he's going to be active in the pass game. Give me all the Dalvin Cook again this week.
He's been awfully impressive, and he was somebody that you and I were going back and forth on week 2. I didn't like the matchup for him. You said, ride Dalvin Cook. I said, I don't know. And sure enough, you ended up being right. I'll go with Dalvin Cook until he proves both of us wrong. At the wide receiver spot, Mike Evans. He's been the number 2 wide receiver to Chris Godwin so far in 2019, but a great matchup for the Bucs. They are at home against the New York Giants as they make the switch to Daniel Jones. Or Kenny Golladay is going up against Philadelphia, and despite Philadelphia's tough defense, teams have been able to throw on them the first 2 weeks of the season. So who do you like here?
I like Kenny G. I believe in him. I think that with Mike Evans, look, I understand he's going to have a blow-up game. It's coming, but until I see it, I can't ride with Evans. I'm going with Kenny G. Has a receiving touchdown in each of his first 2 games, averaging 9.5 targets. The Eagles, like you said, are bleeding out points to wide receivers. They've given up 2 30-plus yard receptions in each of the first 2 games, so give me all the Kenny G.
I'll take Mike Evans. I'll go a little bit contrarian on this game. I think the blowout game is coming up this week for Jameis Winston. Everybody's been talking about Godwin. I think the Giants are going to try and do whatever they can to limit him. Conversely, one-on-one coverage means more jump ball opportunities for Evans, and I think he gets into the end zone not once, but twice this week for Jameis and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Last one, 2 stud tight ends with very intriguing matchups. You have George Kittle at home for the 2-0 49ers. They are up against the 0-2 Pittsburgh Steelers. Conversely, Zach Ertz, there's not a lot of pass catchers right now for the Philadelphia Eagles. He might see 14 or 15 targets against the Lions, but Detroit's secondary looked terrific last week against Phillip Rivers and company. So where do you go here?
I'm going to Ertz. I'm going back to it, man. I think it's feed Ertz season in the next game or 2. If Jeffrey and Djax are out, look, he got 16 targets, Benny. 16 last week and 6 in the red zone. That's definitely in play again this week. I'm all on the train for Ertz.
Yeah, I've loved Kittle. I ranked him ahead of Ertz throughout the start of the season and even the first couple weeks or so. But when you have that type of volume and there's so many guys that are potentially missing, Carson Wentz is going to have to throw the ball somewhere, and you know that he trusts Ertz week in and week out. Plus, even though it's a better matchup for George Kittle, we've started to see Jimmy G spread the ball out and a lot of different receivers and running backs getting involved in San Francisco. Those are our Would You Rathers. Always curious to hear what you guys think. Make sure you leave a comment below and also hit the like button as well. Make sure you head over to thequantedge.com, read Derek's work all throughout this week. What do you have coming out?
10 Stats is going to be out on Thursday. Wide receiver cornerback matchups rolls out on Friday, so we can get people ready to stack cash by Sunday.
Yeah, let's do it. Over at FantasySportsMarkets.com is where you can play. Use the promo code below to get $5 for free on the house to be able to get yourself started playing DFS with no salary caps and compete for over $220,000 for Week 3 in the NFL. For Derek, I am Ben. Thank you guys for watching. It's the Quant Edge Video Series presented by Fantasy Sports Markets.